Hello, welcome back to the channel. This is Instant Movie Reviews with Raina and Droo. I'm Droo.
I'm Raina, and we are getting closer to 100 subscribers!
Woo! I think we're at 93 the last I checked.
At the time of making this video, we are at 93, and I remember saying to Droo when we launched this channel, or when we launched the channel, it's probably going to take us the year to hit our first 100. Your first 100 is hard when you're small, and I think we're pretty close.
I thought that was ambitious. I was like, there's no way we're going to even get close to that, and we did, thanks to Song Sung Blue and Kate Hudson.
Who would have thought a movie with Hugh Jackman in his underwear?
Thank you, Kate. We appreciate you. So we are going to Cheap Tuesday night, which is different for us, but we've just been super busy. We were unable to go to our special preview screening of Shelter last week. So what are we seeing today?
We're seeing Send Help with Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. I think everybody knows who Rachel is. I don't know if you live under a rock, but she's been around a while and she's fantastic. And not usually somebody I think of when it comes to kind of thriller horror.
She was in Red Eye with Cillian Murphy back in the day.
Way back in the day. And she did do another one, I think, where she was kind of like an action person of some sort, where she was like going after assassins or something. I can't even think of what the name of it was.
I'll look into it and I'll put the poster up here if I can find it.
Or maybe Raina just had a dream. But I really like Dylan O'Brien too. I was first introduced to him when they did the remake of Teen Wolf, but they did it like Vampire Diaries like style. So it was like, ooh, like CW style. And he was
CW.
He was Giles was his name in that. Or no, not Giles, Styles, which always made me think of Giles from Buffy.
Yeah.
So he was Styles, which I thought was maybe an homage to Giles. So in my mind, he's always Styles. I forget that his name is Dylan, but his career took off after that show. I'd say he was the other actors and actresses had moments, but he is the one who stayed consistently well, which is interesting because he was a side character and was like the comedy relief. So I'm really happy to see him. But in this role, he looks like he is a grade A-hole.
Yeah. So what is the basic concept of this before we go in? Again, we're not going to spoil anything, but
just from the trailer, it looks like Rachel's character is this overworked woman, middle-aged like myself, trying to climb the corporate ladder, is hoping to be considered for a promotion, and her younger a-hole boss kind of shoots her down. But I think he's also our age. He just maybe seems a bit younger, maybe like 2 years younger.
It's his baby face.
It's his baby face, yeah. But in the show, in the film, he's definitely being portrayed like he's younger, arrogant, probably a bit incelish, like boorish, like he comes off that way. He's making fun of her and stuff. And for whatever reason, they're going to another country to try to land some deal. And he's like, you can just prove your worth by coming with us. And I don't know if this is like, if that was a trap in itself and he's just trying to bully her further or exploit her or what, but I felt like it was bad intentions from the trailer. So we'll see if my prediction's right. And she goes. They end up crashing kind of like Castaway style, and it becomes Lord of the Flies, including a pig head, very quickly. And I found out that my friend Moo, that's his nickname, Moo, who's done prosthetics for shows like Alien Earth and all kinds of films, worked on this film, and he shared some behind the scenes pictures, which I'll send you for the video.
I'll put them up.
He did like the gore and the wounds and the pig head.
Awesome.
So I don't think the pig head is a spoiler because it shows it in the trailer multiple times, and it's on one of the variants of the posters. So that's what I think we're getting into.
Yeah, so Ange has seen this before we did. I've been a little bit worried about the violence. The trailer made it look like it could be a little tortury, although after 28 years later, the Bone Temple, I'm pretty sure we can handle anything. And it's getting a good response. It's head and shoulders above Return to Silent Hill, so I'm looking forward to actually seeing a good movie. I am still hurting inside from Return to Silent Hill. I'm so sorry I made you watch that.
I relate it to a friend at work who is a fan of Silent Hill, and as I got further and further into the story, he was going, "Oh God, oh God, no, oh my God." And it was just, I wish I had filmed it because his reaction to the video was actually more entertaining than our reaction.
We have gotten some really good memes out of it, so thank you, Return to Silent Hill, for making me laugh and cry. Yeah,
it was the beard.
So yeah, we're looking forward to this, and hopefully it's not too much. Anne says we should be able to handle it, but we'll see. I'm sure my tummy will gurgle.
I'm more nervous about the audience. Drew and I don't usually come on Cheap Night Tuesdays. We haven't been at Cheap Night Tuesday for a long time. Cheap Night Tuesday for us is like $4.50 Canadian plus tax. It's crazy. And $5 popcorn. So this is amazing.
Yeah.
Like basically like a little over $10 to go enjoy ourselves at the theater. But that means it's going to be filled. It was already filled up a lot when I got the tickets. Sometimes you get obnoxious people, and I don't mind if it's like a fun audience the way Silent Hill was. It's fun to have like that group experience. But if people start like, you know, throwing things or yelling or waving around their phones like we had at the first 28 years later with that terrible audience, and then the Jurassic Park audience as well, I found was like too distracting for me.
This is a horror comedy though, so
I'm hoping we're going to be laughing.
Yeah, I'm hoping that actually having a slightly rambunctious audience, like when we saw The Housemaid, everyone was like, oh my god,
yeah, that was fun.
What?
Man, that movie did really well too. We'll have to talk about that later. But I mean, Silent Hill 2 kind of was a comedy. It just didn't intend to be one. Anyway, it's looking really crowded. So Drew and I want to go in, get our popcorn and get our food. So we shall go to the movie. We'll let you know what we think.
We'll see you in a second.
It's freaking cold in Canada right now, and we've had 3 snowstorms in as many weeks, and we are back to reviewing hilariously funny horror-esque movies in the freezing cold winter.
Yes.
So I'm having flashbacks to when we saw Companion last year. Like, it's feeling very similar. That was a wild, fun, ridiculous ride.
Was it what you expected?
It was worse in a good way.
Yeah.
It was worse than what I expected in a good way. The cringe factor was intentionally for both characters turned way up.
Oh my god, I thought you were going to actually like merge backwards into your seat like Homer Simpson into the hedge style. Like Rachel McAdams' character is so cringy at the beginning, and you were literally dying of embarrassment next to me.
My secondhand embarrassment for this character was so bad. So like they're very extreme characters, and I feel like the trailer is good. It doesn't give away too much, but it does mash up a bunch of things and make it seem like they're presented in the beginning of the film, and they aren't. They're actually like scattered throughout. So I feel like the trailer gives a different perspective on the characters. They make him seem much meaner.
Yeah.
They make her seem much more of a victim. But when you actually start watching it, she's very awkward and cringe, and he's not quite as mean in the beginning. Like, it kind of builds up.
Yeah, when I first saw the trailer, I just thought, like, I thought of some awkward people that I've met, and I can be awkward sometimes, and just being like, I felt a lot of sympathy for her. But then the more that she behaved, I was like, I understand why people are put off by her and don't love spending time with her. It's not that she's not deserving of respect or that she's not good at her job, but you can see why people would arm's length her at the office. It's not purely a misogyny thing, although there is some of that too.
She reminds me of the character, and maybe you'll be able to find an image of this, but if you ever watched Hey Arnold when you were a kid growing up, Helga would be having these monologues, and this guy would just show up and have glasses, and he'd be breathing behind her, and he'd just show up and he'd be like, and then she'd punch him. So like Rachel McAdams' character is like the breathing character, like just kind of like tries to pop up in conversations. So the thing that I found throughout this film is like, you do have sympathy for her, but at the same time, it's not that anything bad that happens to her is okay. It's not, but she is not super likable. Like, she's very cringy, very uncomfortable, and it's that fun blurring of the lines that makes the characters a bit more three-dimensional and makes it a little less cut and dry. Because Dylan O'Brien's character, same thing. The trailer makes him seem like a total a-hole, and yes, he absolutely has a-hole moments, but he also has redeemable moments, and his entrance is a lot softer than the trailer plays it. And I'm not going to go too far into it, obviously, because I don't want to spoil it, but the reason I'm saying this is like, it just adds to much more complexity in the film than what you're expecting when you're getting on board.
His character in particular had much more depth and nuance to him than I was expecting from the trailer. I literally thought it was just going to be terrible boss gets what's coming to him.
Like horrible bosses.
Yeah.
Like horrible bosses, the Survivor edition.
Yeah, and there's certain elements of that, but again, like the characters were much more gray than I expect. It wasn't a black and white.
So they start off gray, but like the longer they're on the island, the more harder they become in terms of like their lines, and almost the more cartoonishy they became, I found.
Oh, it's definitely a cartoony movie. Like, so again, like some of the violence is so over the top and very splat sticky.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
We didn't mention this in the intro. This movie is directed by Sam Raimi.
It's such a Sam Raimi movie.
So for those who don't know, he burst out of the scene with Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, and that was it for him with that franchise. But he established himself very on as like a horror comedy splatter master. And he's gone on to do very mainstream things. He did the original Spider-Man trilogy with Tobey Maguire. He directed Doctor Strange in the Mouth of Madness. Didn't like that one. And he also did, what was the other Sam Raimi one? Oh, Drag Me to Hell.
Yeah, this was very Drag Me to Hell-esque.
Yeah.
So it was really, really fun. The audience was packed. The audience was hilarious. We were all cringing at the same time. We were all laughing at the same time. Some of the scenes, I literally could not stop laughing. And I'm not somebody who tends to laugh a lot at movies. And
unless it's Return to Silent Hill.
And part of my laughing was nervous laughter too. Like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. That being said, I'm always the one ranting about the audience. Somebody brought their baby, okay? Sometimes you can get away with bringing a baby. Young babies sleep through anything. I totally get it. However, the franchise that we have in Canada does do specific screenings where you can take babies, and people know if they go to that screening, there's going to be babies, that the sound's not going to be as loud, that the lights are going to be a little bit brighter. There's a changing station. So like, parents can do that and still have a date night. And if an audience chooses to go to that, they know what they're getting themselves into.
Now, do they do that for movies like that? Because that is not, because I thought they only would do that for family films, like maybe the kids can enjoy it too.
They do it for all the films.
Okay, that's very good to know.
They do it for all the films because they know that, like, some parents, this is the only opportunity they have to get out. The kids are allowed to play with toys. They're allowed to run around. They're allowed to do whatever. And obviously, like, I don't think they're going to maybe do like a hardcore rated R movie or something, but they do films that are geared towards adults, right? So these folks brought their baby, who was probably between a year and 18 months. And the reason I differentiate that is because the baby was aware enough that I was concerned as a mother. I was like, the baby's crying. She's calling for her mom, but she's obviously not able to walk yet or anything.
And there's some really scary scenes. But again, like,
it's gory and I have a child development background, and like, we know now because of all these studies that kids should not be exposed to that kind of violence when they're aware of it. You know what I mean? I
remember being 8 years old, and I can't remember if my parents or my sister were watching the original Jurassic Park at home. And I couldn't even the sounds were scaring me. And I was 8.
Yeah.
I can only imagine how intense some of those sounds and images would have been.
I was 4 when I caught my mom watching Nightmare on Elm Street, and I was terrified of Freddy for like a decade, and I was 4.
Oh my God. I used to have nightmares. Some furniture in my room in the dark kind of looked like the silhouette of a velociraptor, and it terrified me. So anyway, I feel bad for the kid. I wasn't mad at the kid. I was mad at the parents for bringing
the kid. And the baby did keep crying, and they didn't leave with the baby. And like, an usher came and asked them, like, if your baby leaves or if your baby cries, can you take it out for a break? And so they tried to at one point, and they went to the wrong exit that wasn't like, it's just a fire exit. So they can't just take the baby out in the cold. So they're just like in this little aisle with the baby still crying. And it was during like an emotional scene where you're supposed to be getting into the depth of the character, and you just hear this baby going, "Mama, I want Mama." Yeah. And my mama heart was like, just give me that baby. I'll take care of the baby. Like,
see, I was about to yell, take the kid outside. Anyway, but getting back to the film.
I did yell at the person whose phone wouldn't stop.
Yes. But besides that, like, the audience laughed at the right times. They gasped at the right time. So we always like to do trigger warnings, even though we try to be spoiler free. I'm just going to tell you right off the bat, there is some gnarly animal violence in this. It's not a predominant theme of the movie, but they're stuck on a stranded island. They have to survive. They have to eat things to survive.
And my friend Moo made it, and it was filmed in Thailand, where he's from, and he made it. So I can tell you unequivocally that it is CGI plus a puppet. Like, he made it.
It wasn't a real animal, but again, if you are sensitive to that, there is some really, really graphic animal violence in it.
It just got it got to the point though where it was ridiculous. Yeah. Like, I'm laughing with Drew like so hard.
Well, it very much reminded me of The Evil Dead because of just how bloody it is, and there's gore flying around, there's snot flying around, there's vomit flying around. And so I also want to, as another trigger warning, I know it's not a trigger for me, but I know that it is for other people, so I want to give you a warning. If you do not like vomit, there is a lot of vomit in this movie, and it is done in really intentionally disgusting ways.
Over the top.
Which, if you've seen Evil Dead, not a surprise for Sam Raimi, but you might be a little bit taken aback if you don't know that going in.
It's really hard to sell this movie because when we're describing it, it sounds ridiculous, but I genuinely, you don't have to be somebody who has a dark or sick humor just to find it funny. Like, it was so over the top that it was hilarious. Yeah. So we're talking about this vomit, we're talking about the blood and the animal death, but I still think that a lot of our audience would probably enjoy it. Like, based on the comments we get on horror films and stuff like that, like, I still think a lot of you would have fun at it. You just need to know these trigger warnings before going in case this is too much for you.
It's not a pet and it's not an animal that's presented in a, shall we say, innocent way.
So there's like vomiting and animal cruelty, death, murder, whatever. Yeah. There's a lot of violence between the main characters and some side characters, because there's a plane crash because of the trailer. And then also just like a lot of themes of power and abuse and misogyny and stuff.
Gender imbalance and So it actually has some pretty intense themes, even though it's not a heavy film. You're not going to walk out of it feeling like, oh, this is so woke. No. And you're not going to walk out of it feeling depressed and overwhelmed by it. It's very cheeky. It's tongue in cheek. And like the ending is very like literally wink wink kind of thing.
Literally wink wink.
So I just want to talk a minute about Rachel McAdams. So when we did our review for The Housemaid, you had read the book and you had a mental picture of what Amanda Seyfried's character Nina should be like, and you were like, it was a really good performance, but she was still a little bit too made up. She's supposed to look a little bit more run down, a little bit mousier,
and she's supposed to seem she's supposed to seem crazy.
Yeah. And holy moly, Rachel McAdams at the beginning of this movie, even though I haven't read The Housemaid, since you said that, I instantly started thinking, this is what I think Raina was talking about when she was talking about Nina.
Yeah,
and again, Rachel McAdams is a beautiful woman. She usually looks great in everything, but she just and it's not just glasses. A lot of the time they'll just put a pair of glasses on a woman and be like, oh, she's ugly now.
What did they did with Amanda? They put her in occasionally frumpy clothes. They had her hair a little unkept and no makeup in some scenes. Like, Rachel McAdams was like, she embodied this character, like being weird and uncomfortable and frumpy and not self-aware and stuff like that. And also like crazy. And Nina needed to be like that, I think, because the twist that comes in The Housemaid is so much more a powerful twist if the characters are a bit more intense than they were presented in the film.
Yeah, and I just, again, I've always liked Rachel McAdams. I haven't seen everything that she's been in, but I've seen a lot, and I really think that this is one of her most impressive performances. She just goes gonzo on this thing. You could tell she was having an absolute blast, even though parts of that I feel like must have been unpleasant to film.
Oh, they had to be unpleasant to film. But her and Dylan O'Brien, there's several scenes throughout the film where they're laughing at each other, and I'm thinking, some of this is unscripted. Yeah. I know it is. Some of it is them ad-libbing their own reaction to the scenes they've just shot, and Sam Raimi has kept it in. I guarantee when we go see the making of this, like, probably 2 of those laugh scenes are going to be like, and Rachel and Dylan just started cracking up and we kept it in. Yeah.
And again, I already said that I was very impressed with his performance, the nuance of his character, and I really bought him as a leading man. The only movie I can distinctly remember seeing him in was Deepwater Horizon.
We get a butt shot. There's a butt shot.
And it's a nice butt.
It's a nice butt.
But I never saw Teen Wolf. I never saw Maze Runner, so I'm kind of new to Dylan O'Brien. And again, like, I was a fan of Vampire Diaries when it was on, so I shouldn't belittle people who are in like these frothy teeny bopper kind of things. But I always had the impression of him as just being kind of like this heartthrob teeny bopper guy in this Teen Wolf show.
He was kind of the underdog heartthrob, though. He was the one that you could tell the execs for the show didn't think was going to take off, and they marketed the other people, and then the fandom was like, no, he's the hot one. Like,
I very much appreciated his performance and the nuance to his character. And they're really the only two characters that are in this for any period of time. There are some side characters. They're not there for long. This really is like a 2-person movie. It sort of reminds me of, did you ever see Hard Candy?
Yeah.
Way back in the day with Patrick Wilson and Elliot Page.
Yeah,
besides Sandra Oh showing up for a few minutes,
yeah,
it literally is just the two of them being amazing actors together.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing Elliot Page and just being like, oh, holy crap, like this actor is from here. I need to pay attention to this person going forward.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like that. It's just two really, really good actors chewing the scenery, having a great time, grossing the audience out, scaring the audience sometimes. I expected to like this because the reviews were good. I'm really surprised at just how positive, though, I feel about that movie.
It was just really fun. And this is like the first quarter of the year is always a slog to get through if you're in North America. The weather sucks. Like, people don't really want to go out. A lot of the movies are forgettable, and it's really hard for movies to do super well. And I mean, we're both enjoying this, but who knows by the end of the year what's going to be on our top 10, right? Like, as we add more movies every single week or 2 weeks, like, some things move further and further down.
I'm hard pressed to remember a January where there were 2 films that impressed me the way that 28 years later, The Bone Temple, and now this have impressed me. Like,
Poor Things was a January watch, wasn't it? Yeah. Poor Things was a January watch.
Companion was close. I think it was January or February last year.
Yeah, because Poor Things, I just had my surgery and I had to take a pillow into the theater.
I do remember that.
I'd had a surgery. So, but anyway, I'm really curious because I'm having a bit of trouble here for myself. What's your rating?
So I'm trying to figure it out. Like, I don't want to give it a 9 or a 10 out of 10, even though I had an absolute blast and I totally enjoyed the experience of watching that. So I'm going to give it a very positive 8 just because it's not high art.
Yeah.
It's not the most insightful movie I've ever seen. It's not something that I'm going to like think back on and be like, oh, that was so, it's going to stick with me forever kind of thing. But as a popcorn movie, a schlocky, gory,
funny, like just to have fun, blow up some steam,
great performances. So I can't give it any less than an 8, but I can't give it any higher than that either.
Yeah. So for me, it's about a 7.5. Like all the same things you've said. It just, I think I wanted, I think I went into it wanting a certain story, and I don't want to spoil because you and I discussed this before we got in the car.
And I agree with you on this point. We discussed it in detail. We're not going to do here.
I think I wanted a sort of different arc and a different resolution, but I think that is the stereotype of what people are going to go into it wanting. And I think the fact that it just goes crazy and bonkers and gives it 100% is what makes it enjoyable. I think if it went the way that I would have wanted it to go, it would have been entirely too predictable and just the same old as any other movie out there. So like, I think the risk is going to pay off, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I would if the payoff would have been a little more than what we got, a wink at the end kind of thing, right? So 7.5 for me. I wouldn't watch it again, but it, like, the experience of watching it in a theater with other people is a good one. Like, we're honest with you. We tell you when you don't want to waste your money going to see it. And you know what? If this is not your style of film, but you're a little curious because of our review or someone else's review, then, by all means, stream it. But if you typically like this kind of stuff, you're going to like it. It's fun. It's enjoyable. So go see it in theater because having a hilarious, reaction with the audience, it adds to it. It's more fun.
I will say, though, like, the scenery in this movie is gorgeous. You said you're pretty sure it was shot near Thailand.
I'm pretty sure it was shot on location because they say that they're flying over Thailand, and my friend is in Thailand who did the special effects for it. So, like, just knowing
whatever
those two
island
things,
they found was just gorgeous. Like, it really felt Jurassic Parky at times.
It did, yeah.
Like, it was like, is there like gonna be like a raptor or a compy that's gonna like jump out at some point?
It did feel a bit Jurassic Parky. Some of the shots, the drone shots, and whatever. And I'm sure some of it was CGI and stuff.
And some of the score by Danny Elfman also reminded me a little bit of Jurassic Park.
I meant to bring up the score. Yes. So once again, I love that Hollywood movies are getting back to valuing a good soundtrack, a good like cinematic experience. They're looking at the whole package again. And I loved it. You could so tell it was a Danny Elfman score. It was so obvious. Like, if his name didn't pop up, I would have turned to Drew and said, like, doesn't this feel like a little Beetlejuicy in some points?
But it also felt John Williams-y in the sense that, like, it wasn't like as off kilter as a soundtrack for something like The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Some parts were, though.
Some parts were, yeah.
Some parts were off kilter.
Yeah,
so.
but the score was very much more like a standard orchestral score.
There's a little bit of
a little bit of choral stuff in there, a little bit of maybe Nightmare Before Christmas mood in there, but
I love that. That actually is part of what sets the mood, I think. And a couple jump scares that got us good. The audience, there was one jump scare that got everybody, and the scare itself was very funny.
Yeah.
So everybody screamed and then immediately laughed and then immediately got embarrassed. Like it was like this collective embarrassment that it got us.
Yeah.
Like it was really fun.
Sort of like the one effective jump scare in Return to Silent Hill, where we all kind of hated ourselves after for being like, oh, that actually got us.
Yeah.
In an otherwise terrible horror movie.
Yeah. So anyway, it was worth a watch, I think. If that's the kind of stuff you like, go into it with an open mind. It was fun. And we've got some more coming up down the road. You and your partner are going to go see
Wuthering Heights.
Yeah.
I read that book in high school, and I remember not loving it just because I couldn't get over the fact that there were so many characters named Catherine. I was like, if you're writing a book, don't name like 3 characters Catherine. But I really like Margot Robbie. I'm very impressed with Jacob Elordi now that I've seen him in Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a nice Valentine's watch for me and my partner to go see.
I like too that she's a lot older than him. I get really exhausted with the much older love interest being the guy, and it's just like she's my age, so I like seeing her hooking up with a young guy. I don't even think that's a plot point in this film. I think they're treating them like they're the same age, but I love that for her. Good for her.
The other ones that we want to see are obviously Scream 7 towards the end of this month. We want to see Pillion. Hopefully that one comes close to us, because that's
you and Ange might be up for that one. It's another one where I feel like I might be uncomfortable watching it in the theater.
Fair. Well,
I like spicy content, but I would rather watch it in my own time, because it can sometimes have the opposite effect on me. Like a spicy book is one thing, but a spicy film, it can feel cringy, like with around other people, or sometimes I feel embarrassed for the actors, or even worried for the actors. Like I have too much empathy, so I can't like get into it as like a sexy thing. Like I can only think of a handful of sex scenes in like all of every film I've ever seen that I thought were any good.
Yeah.
So like, it's getting rave reviews, so I will miss the boat on seeing it in theaters, but I'll still watch it. I just stream it in privacy.
But yeah, like again, January's been impressive so far, Silent Hill aside. So maybe
February, we're in February now. So
yeah, we're in February now.
I do think we're going to hit a bit of a dry spell in March, but there may be the odd like horror / indie thing pop up, because I'm seeing trailers that of films coming out that I didn't see on lists before, because I always go and look at the list, like what's upcoming. So I think there's going to be like a few interesting things popping up. And there's definitely some like TV shows I'm interested in that are going to start filling the gap. But, we're just trying to get through the freezing cold winter
and trying to keep the momentum going. Our channel is doing so great lately, and we're just so delighted. So we want to thank all of you, whether you're new to the channel or you're returning. Hopefully some of our Song Sung Blue people haven't been scared away by the weird things we go to see.
I know. So on a YouTube perspective, on the backside, we can see the demographics. So it's nothing like anything super identifiable. I don't want you to be worried about that, but it does tell us like your age range and your gender, and like where like generally you're from, if you're American, Canadian, whatever. And we had like so many subscribers who were 64 or older join us, and I'm like, oh good lord, and now here we're telling them about this like slapstick horror pukey movie. So stay with us, because if you don't like this one, you might like the next one. We appreciate you so much, and like and subscribe, click the bell if you want to get a notification when we put our new stuff in. And we really do appreciate when you leave us comments. We try to respond to them all, have conversations. We'll jump in from our other accounts occasionally, just so that you can tell who's talking to you. Or we usually try to, if we're responding from this account, we try to sign up like who's saying what. But yeah, we just like to hear what you think about things and your take on stuff and your thoughts on things, and just be kind to each other in the comments so that I don't have to moderate you.
And we're approaching our 1-year anniversary of the channel, and we are starting to think of maybe something a little fun that we might do that we were discussing. We're not sure if we can make it happen, but you're going to put a little something together.
I'm going to use my connections from my other channel in my mermaid world and see if I can pull something cool together for our 1-year anniversary. It's probably not going to happen right on that, but it'll be like around there. So yeah, we'll see what happens. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the movies.